All right, let's go ahead and see how the Stelvio accelerates. Pretty strong. This is an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and today I'm going to go ahead and go over some of its features, take it for a drive, and share my impressions. The Stelvio is Alfa Romeo's first and only so far SUV, and it is a compact luxury SUV that competes with the Mercedes-Benz GLC, Porsche Macan, Audi SQ5, and BMW X3M. Especially the Quadrifoglio model definitely has a lot of power, so it's up there with the very best in terms of the luxury SUVs. At the front of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, you can see the traditional Alfa Romeo Scudetto grille. This one is finished in carbon fiber. Actually, they have the carbon fiber trim pack, which gives you carbon fiber on the mirror housings, and as well as this carbon fiber Scudetto grille. I think it is a very nice look and helps to keep it distinctive from all the other German competition. The Stelvio has LED headlights with a very long LED daytime running light strip. I think these are very handsome. The Stelvio has some beautiful wheels. These I think are a real strong point on the car. And on the front we've got 255, and on the back we've got 285. Alfa Romeo denotes the Quadrifoglio with this 4-leaf clover badge. That'll help you distinguish it from other more pedestrian Stelvio models. And you can see here again the extended carbon pack does give some very nice covers to the mirror housings. Taking a look inside the trunk of the Stelvio, we do have a power lift gate. Pretty slow to open, I would say. So in here it's pretty small, but this is about what you would get in the equivalent Mercedes GLC or BMW X3. It's nice to see that we do have rear seat fold down latches, so you can do that from back here. And also standard on the Quadrifoglio model, we have a sound system, and you can see here there's a really big subwoofer right in the back of the trunk. The sound system on this car is pretty serious. Before we go ahead and take a look at the heart of this beast, you can tell that there's something special brewing under the hood by these functional hood vents. Kind of look like gills or nostrils. I think this is a nice look, and also nice to see that these ones are actually functional, allowing heat extraction from the engine, unlike so many other fake vents. Oh, ooh, very exciting. Under the hood we've got the Alfa Romeo 690T 90-degree V6 twin turbocharged engine. Now, this engine has a very special heritage. It shares the architecture with the Ferrari twin-turbo V8 that's been in use in Ferrari and Maserati models since 2013. Here we have an output of 505 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque, 2.9-liter V6. Very strong output. The Q4 badge on the back of this Quadrifoglio designates that it's all-wheel drive. Power comes from the engine through a classic ZF 8 HP, through a carbon fiber drive shaft to all four wheels. So sitting in the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, you can see that these seats are very supportive. We've got some very large side bolsters and bolsters at the bottom. Now these are the base seats. Actually, Alfa Romeo offers a Sparco carbon fiber bucket seat as well. I think these are plenty for most people. I wouldn't necessarily go for that, especially in an SUV, but very supportive. We've got some nice stitching on here. This one has like the white and black interior, and that one comes with white and green stitching. I think it looks very nice. Of course, Alcantara seating surfaces for better grippiness. Seats are very comfortable, and what I really like is that you can get quite low in the driving position, the steering wheel very close. This is how I like to have it when driving a sporty car, and the position in this car for me is very natural, and I feel like I'm a lot lower in the car than I would be in a Mercedes GLC, for example. So I really like the gauge cluster. I always like it when they set the dials way deep down in here. It just gives it a very focused kind of feel. Red line on this thing is 6,500 RPM. It really sings. This is a really nice motor. There is a small screen in the middle. There's not too many functions that you can have on here, but I do really like the steering wheel. I don't know if I'm a fan of the Alcantara on the steering wheel, where you're going to grip it. To me, it seems like this is going to wear out and just look really ugly. I do like the feel of it, but I'm not sure if I would want that on my car. We do have some carbon fiber trim on the steering wheel, as well as a Quadrifoglio badge, which is nice to see. And then, of course, the engine start button is on the steering wheel, which is typical of Ferrari models. So Alfa Romeo, again, pulling from their kind of partnership with Ferrari in terms of the engine with this car. My one complaint so far about this infotainment system, the screen is not actually that bright. It is a little bit hard to see on a day that's brighter outside, but it seems to be quite responsive. One other weak point I would say is the backup camera. The resolution of it is not all that great, and this thing doesn't have anything like 360 cameras. So that's somewhere where it lags a little bit behind in terms of the technology. Coming down here, these climate control vents are not the most premium, and unfortunately this is something that you see in a lot of high performance compact cars, is that there exists a base model of the Stelvio that is, I think, less than half the price of this one. So they can only do so much to upgrade the interior to match this almost $90,000 price tag, and this is definitely a place where it shows for me, as well as these climate controls, which are all plastic. Although very nice, they did add some rubber on the outside of the climate control knobs for a better feel. These do look a little bit out of place in a car at this price. Coming down to the shifter, this one takes a little bit of time to get used to. It's one of those ones where you have to hold the button on the back to go into gear. I do like that they've got the more motorsport inspired orientation of the shift sequence. So it's up for down, down for up, instead of the what a lot of other cars have, which is up for up and down for down. I definitely prefer this orientation. And then Alfa Romeo definitely places a lot of emphasis on their drive modes. So this is the drive mode selector, very easily accessible. The three modes that come on all Alfa Romeos are D, N, and A. This is dynamic. D, dynamic. N is like normal mode, and A is like all-terrain or like rain or poor weather. So this is going to be the slowest, the normal, and the fast mode. And then because it is a Quadrifoglio, it also does have a race mode. And when you activate that, it's going to turn off the traction control. I really like the materials in this Alfa Romeo. They've done a nice job with layering, which I think is always very important. We've got leather, contrast stitching, leather, carbon fiber, aluminum style trim, white plastic. So a lot of layers helps to make a more premium looking interior, and the quality of the materials is very good. But here's something I want to show you that's not so good. Look at how these stitching line up on the corner of the door. It doesn't quite line up. That's just an example of, just because the car has really nice materials doesn't always mean that it's put together very well. Another nice little feature in the Quadrifoglio or Stelvio is this nice extra storage compartment here. It's not too big, but you could stick your wallet in there maybe. Always nice to see as many storage options as possible. Another nice additional feature with the Quadrifoglio model is these very nice aluminum pedals. All right, here I am in the back seat of the Stelvio. It is nice to see that we do have climate control vents back here, and we do have a couple of USB charging ports, which is nice. Despite the look of these seats of being quite kind of flat, which helps to fold for a nice load floor, I think they're actually reasonably comfortable, and it's definitely a compact SUV. I have the seat pretty far forward, more than most people my height would today, so I can fit, but it's definitely a compact SUV, and if I try, I can make my head touch the top. So rear seat comfort, definitely better than I expected. And the materials back here are equally nice as well. I love the contrast stitching, I love the carbon fiber trim, and I love that there's leather on a lot of the touch surfaces. Definite weak point back here is the cup holders. This is pretty basic, and in an almost $90,000 car, yeah, this is a little bit out of place. Another thing that's nice about the Quadrifoglio is that you can actually start it up in whichever drive mode. So you can change the drive mode before you start it up. So if you want to make sure the exhaust valves are open, go ahead and do so, and then Definitely a pretty good sounding car. Nice. All right, let's go. Pretty strong and a really nice exhaust note. I really like the feel of the paddle shifters as well. This one will do 0s to 60 in as fast as 3.5 seconds, and it certainly feels it in the seat of the pants. This is a really quick SUV, and the response from the engine, I mean, it's only a 2.9 liter, and so you've got to have some decent sized turbos to get up to the 505 horsepower, but spool up pretty nicely, and the acceleration is very strong. Nice crackle on the shifts from the ZF 8HP. That's one of my favorite characteristics of this transmission. So this car does have adjustable suspension. You can, based on the different drive modes, it's going to change how firm it is. You can definitely tell the difference, and in the normal comfort suspension mode, it's totally fine for everyday use. It's definitely on the stiffer side of things, but it definitely is a very well-tuned suspension, and handling is very sharp in either comfort mode or the sport suspension mode. Really nice exhaust note. Nice crackles on the shifts. Yeah, the handling on this Stelvio Quadrifoglio is really very sharp. Feel through the steering wheel is not absolutely the best, but the weight of the steering is very good, and it is extremely precise. I mean, I can make the most minute of adjustments, and I can feel the front wheels actually doing something. This is a really very well-tuned steering. I would say that this is probably right up there with the Porsche Macan, or maybe better in terms of the handling feel. This is about as good as you can get in an SUV, and that part of where that comes from is this car is on the same platform as the Alfa Romeo Giulia, which is designed from the ground up to be a sports sedan. So those bones are, you can definitely tell that they're here in the Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Another thing that I really like about Alfa Romeos is that they do column-mounted shifters. I prefer it to a steering wheel-mounted shifter, and these ones have a really nice feel to them, very premium, and a nice click as well when you push it. All right, let's see how it does here. Wow, this thing just takes off. This thing just has such excellent torque and really good response, and this motor sings. Wow. So despite this being very much a driver's car, it does have a lot of good driver assistance features, speed limit sign recognition, and it's got lane keep assist. I like the way that they've implemented that. When you do cross over the lane, it just gives you a little bit of vibration in the steering wheel. I definitely prefer that to the ones where it just kind of jerks you back over into the lane. And it does fall short in terms of like autonomous features, but you're definitely not missing too much by going for an Alfa Romeo over the German competition. So kind of the elephant in the room with this one is the reliability. This car, the Quadrifoglios in particular, have a very poor reputation in terms of reliability for a number of reasons, and that's just something that you have to be aware of if you're going to buy this car. You might spend a lot of time driving around a different Alfa Romeo because yours is in for service. So that's something that I need to say, because it does happen. These cars are known to have a lot of problems. A couple of annoyances that I do have with the car. I would say that the brake pedal is pretty touchy. Definitely the brakes are strong, but if you're just driving around in the city, it can be hard to make a smooth stop. And also I think that the turn signal stock. I don't like how this one works. This is the way that BMW used to do it, where it, if you push it down all the way, it doesn't stay in place, so you don't really know whether it's fully engaged or not. So don't really like that, but those are pretty minor things, to be honest. So as for my verdict, I really think this is a fun car. This is, I have not driven a Porsche Macan Turbo, but this is the most exciting SUV I've ever driven. This has fantastic response, much better than you get from most other turbocharged V6 engines. This one is just, as soon as you hit it, it's got tons of torque, it likes to rev, excellent sound, and really sharp handling. I mean, considering the size, this handling is really sharp. This is a very very good choice if you're most interested in the driving experience. And obviously there are some other issues like the reliability. There's some cheap materials in certain places in the interior, and build quality is a little questionable in some places, but man, Alfa Romeo is certainly offering something unique, and they are very much delivering on the promise of an exciting car. This certainly is one.